All right, class, we're going to be talking about found objects. I have it sort of set up so you can look at some things that I have here. I was thinking about what type of objects you could maybe use, and I thought to myself, you could actually use something, find something like a chair, depending on your idea. Or I was thinking it might be a good idea to, in some way, find some type of case or something that you can build inside of. This one is the candy case in my house, where my son stores all his Halloween candy so we can dole it out to him a bit at a time, or any other type of candy he gets, not just Halloween candy. Okay? I also thought it could be interesting to find small, maybe type of ceramic type of items to use. And think about how they could be used. And then I was thinking, I have a lot of ideas about baseball lately. Like a glove would be interesting. How things interact with each other is interesting. Different textures. Okay? Also, don't be afraid to get something totally small. This is like a small little part that releases water. I thought that's an interesting little thing. And then buttons could be really cool. I showed you some different work in the slideshow. So if you didn't see the slideshow lecture, you really need to watch it. It's not going to make sense to you. I thought technology, old technology things, or even small ones could be really interesting too. What other type of found objects could you use? I was like, you know what? You can use old picture frames or pictures. This could be interesting. I could take this picture out of here and use the frame and mat as part of the whole process. That could be really cool to do. Okay, and then I was thinking about, I showed you guys different things with that had imagery in it. I was like, you know what? You can use some kind of collage imagery or pieces that you cut out carefully, depending on your idea. Like if you found some kind of imagery that was really interesting. If you remember Joseph Cornell, he kind of cut things out. So you could cut this out and add it to like some cardstock so it was thicker, glue it down so it could hold up in some way. Even like more specific things with people's faces or a particular piece of old art, even referencing art. This is an art magazine, has sculptures inside of it. So it's really going to depend upon your idea more than anything. And you're going to want to, maybe you actually find some inspiration by thinking about collage and looking at some magazines. Because this is a sort of type of collage in a way. And a assemblage is in a way a three-dimensional collage. You're adding things together. But I want you to remember something important. That you have a lot of different type of skills you've already developed, okay? You already know how to work with wire. You know how to work from your 3D model project to work with the mat board or cardboard covered with a coating. So instead of finding a case or buying it, you could actually make boxes out of this and use it as part of your idea. And you do also know how to work with oil, clay, and wire as well. So oil clay could be part of your idea. And you could also use like drying clay, like self-drying clay if you wanted to buy some of that. And some of you out there may have some skill with something like mold making, because I know some of you may have taken some of my classes before or talked to me about this. And if you make a mold of something, this is a mold of an acorn. So I could cast multiples of it. You could use found objects in a different way by making molds and castings of things. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you've never done this before, I don't expect you to do this. I'm just trying to tell you, illuminate the idea that this project can take different types of forms depending on the type of skill sets you already have in art making or sculpture or design or drawing. If you have skills with mold making or you want to learn about them, let me know. I can send you information. You've already been developing skills, so I want you to use the things you already know and add into it. Also, if you have skills with collage, you could start using those as well. You can use the things you already know about art to add into this project. Say it again that way. Some of you even may have skills with something like printmaking, where you can carve a rubber plate. It's not a plate, but a rubber piece of block and print something. Instead of just using collage material, you can make your own types of imagery and add to it, or even maybe some drawn imagery. You're going to want to think about if you do add drawn imagery to attach it to that mat board so it has some solidity to it. But it's not a two-dimensional piece. It has to be fully three-dimensional, but you can add things into it, right? You can play with the divide between 2 dimensions and 3 dimensions. Okay. So how are you going to attach all this type of stuff? Well, the most basic type of materials you already have is a glue gun, which will attach a lot of different things together. You also have the option to get some kind of glues, like this is wood glue if you're using a bunch of wood stuff. Hot glue will glue wood together too. You have your gun. Gorilla glue is really good as well. It's actually, you have to be more careful with it though, because it's kind of mess with your skin. Super glue, stuff like that. They work well, but they can really mess with your skin, so you can't get it on your hands. And they smell bad, so make sure you follow the directions of any type of glue or anything you use. Some of you may have some skills already in things like soldering. If you have soldering irons, this is some non-lead based solder, general purpose repairing solder. You could connect metal things together this way if you already have the skill. So you want to take in some of your personal skill sets into things and bring it into this project. Also, I want to make you think about painting things, okay? Say I found this case and it was the right size and shape for me to do something with it, but I don't like the imagery. Well, I could paint it and make it different. It's a found object, but I'm altering it by painting it. Bright green might not work well, but it might work for the idea that I have. It depends. So it's about altering the objects, not just keeping them exactly as they are, figuring out ways to connect them. But also, say I had this case, I want to build some things inside of it. I could start attaching it, breaking it up, making it so this whole thing expands into a world where you can build your own city or something. Okay? There's all different type of cool ideas, but you have to think about altering things you find too, and adding other materials to them, not just taking them as they are and then slapping trash together. Okay? It's easy to look at these projects and think, oh, I'll just slap a bunch of shit together, trash, and then that'll be it. No, that's not the point of it. You're going to have to think more clearly about things. If you connect things together in boxes and arrange and display them, there has to be some purposefulness to it. Okay? It can't just be random and just throwing a bunch of trash together and hot gluing it. That's not going to get you an A or even probably a C. It's probably going to get you a D. It's about having an idea and building with it, using the form of things, which means the shape, texture, color, pattern of things, and attaching them to make something that you like because of the form. That's one way to go about it. Another way to go about it is the concept idea of what something is and bringing that idea forward into the narrative. Okay? You could do interesting things with flashlights. What if I glued that there and then you could turn the light on and it would shine a particular way and my sculpture had a light inside of it, okay? There's all kinds of things you could do, but you have to have an idea, and that's why you go through the design process. Let me just say this straight up to you guys. You can see me? There is no way in which you can get away with gluing a bunch of crap together without any idea or design or purpose and then turning it in and getting a passing grade, okay? It has to be intentional. All right, guys? So I just want you to realize that because it's easy for people to go down that sort of trail with this. But I want you guys to have a high degree of craftsmanship, and I want you guys to think about finding things that you can change them. Like if I found this picture frame, I could take this image out or even cut part of it out and add some more imagery into it, make my own image. I was thinking about what does it look like if I was playing with the idea of someone who's leaving home to go play baseball or something. Well, I could use a suitcase and a chair, like it's all set up, paint it a particular way, glue this down in some way, and then have something else like this stuck to it in a way that's like a spotlight that are going down to be in the spotlight. There's all kinds of weird ideas I could come up with. Sometimes you got to plan some stuff out and think about ideas that are autobiographical and then find objects to work with it. And then you have to come back and say, okay, these are the objects I found. Do they actually work better to switch the narrative? So do the objects work for my idea? I would do one maybe inside of a case. I was thinking about, I love stars and stargazing and things like that. I could cut a hole in here, put a light source, and then play with some kind of universe type of thing inside here. But if I have that idea, okay, I found the objects, made me think of it, I might need to find some more objects that would work better, like a better flashlight, or some other objects that could be planets and things. Or I could find a bunch of objects like these ones I've just found and start to think about what they inspire as well. So it's kind of a bit of both. It's like have an idea, draw out a bunch of stuff, find some objects and other materials, right? You're going to use more raw materials to go with it. So if someone's leaving home to play baseball, I could have this be the idea of traveling. This doesn't work, right? But I could build a roof over this and make it feel like a house. And I could paint it up and cut some windows and things. And then put this inside of it where you can see through the window. And maybe I would make a ticket through printmaking and or drawing and draw a ticket inside there. And you could have this open up and you could add other things like on the inside of it, the lid of it, a baseball card or the idea of a stadium. So you have a lot of ideas and you have a lot of options. You're going to have to narrow them down and think about altering things, how you can join them together. If things make sense with each other, as in the material, can it actually join together some way? If you have ceramic and wire and you're trying to join them together, that would require a particular type of epoxy. For example, you want to make sure the way you build things and how you join them matches your idea, so there's high quality. Besides spray paint, also you could think about using acrylic paint to paint things and change them, right? You have the option of using acrylic paints to change stuff and add textures and surfaces to things. You have a lot of different options, but you need to really be intentional about what you do and not, like I said before, not forget about the skill sets you've already been developing. Okay? You need to use those. And then, like I said, if you have particular skill sets, if you know how to do welding or you know how to solder and join metal, you can start doing that with the wire. If you know how to do woodworking at home, if you have a few woodworking tools, that might be something we would do in class, but I can't expect you guys to have materials like that or tools like that. But if you do have that stuff and you have special skills, you can bring it into this project. You can bring in printmaking. If you're good at printmaking or drawing, you can bring that type of stuff in. So I might be repeating myself here a tiny bit, but I just want you to think about the individual things you can do too. You have to think of this like visual, three-dimensional collage. So you can add 2D stuff into it, but you do not want it to be 2D. It has to be three-dimensional. But you can play with that in-between territory, between image and object, like I showed you with Joseph Cornell. So Maybe some of your other skills work well for that. And then think about the form of things a lot, how they work, what they look like if you just made them one color, and the history of them. If you keep them looking like they did in the world, sometimes things that are used and have been like kind of have a patina of age to them or use can be a lot more interesting than brand new looking things. Okay, so I'll keep posting, like I'll post a few more videos, maybe one about collage, one about blocking out your drawings, and maybe also some inspiration to look at and think about for this. You do definitely want to watch all the slideshow lectures and things to help you understand this whole idea and engage with all the material. But if you have questions, really, you need to email me and talk to me and reach out, because I don't want you to be stuck and not asking and stuck and you can't figure it out. I want you to find objects and in a certain way play with them and see how they interact. And then use that to, like, if you get really stuck, use that to keep formulating your ideas. And see what things look like with each other, you know? Don't just have an idea, try to find the objects, but then don't get so stuck on it that you kind of forget that if it's not working, you can change it up a little bit, but not endlessly. But you might need to find new objects or slightly adjust your idea. Or you've got part of it, but you need to find a few different things. Play with the idea of totems, stacking things, putting them together. I really, really, really want to emphasize, again, you need to be original. You can't just take like something and just recreate it only. I don't want to see like you take some Marvel superhero and make them out of things. I want you to have your own ideas. You can incorporate things that are important to you in your kind of mythology of ideas in life and visual imagery you're interested in. But this is not about replicating video game characters and comic books. You can bring it into that if it's important to you, that's fine. But why is it important to you? If you like Spider-Man, great. But why do you like Spider-Man? Because he's the geek turned hero? Maybe you like him because he cares, he has responsibility and cares about people. Maybe you like him because of a lot of different reasons. You have memories of it. You got to think about that and bring that into it as well, okay? So if you have questions, feel free to ask, reach out. Use tools that you have, you know, glues, hot glue guns, paint. You might need to buy some extra things. Scavenge objects that you're already in your life that you can adapt, but also you may need to purchase some more mat board to make things with, or oil clay, or air dry clay, okay? So you're going to need to ask me about your ideas a little bit, because I can't give you a demo one size fits all. It depends a little bit upon what you're trying to join together and connect and build an armature for. So if you're interested in mold making and you know how to do it, ask me about that. I know a lot about it. If you're going to do some woodworking and you have the tools, you can ask me about it. Or if you're welding, you can ask me about that. Or if you're using glues and epoxies and joining things together, ask me about it. I've done a lot of different types of processes, but I can't expect you to have any tools particularly. So you have to just ask me and reach out to me with your questions if you have, you know, a particular idea that's a little different and you don't know what to do with it, okay? I can be contacted in all the ways I've always talked about and on the homepage and all that stuff, so I'm here for you. Don't suffer in silence, and make sure that you're just engaging the process, using sketching, finding stuff, working it through, changing it up, rebuilding it if you need to. All right, guys, talk to you soon.